Welcome to another episode of Conversations Over Coffee. Today we are celebrating National Nurses Week. As a way of honoring our nurses, I am so excited to have Brittany DiNatale and Barbara Burns be my guests. Both are former ER nurses who now work with our client success team and provide support to nurses and nurse leaders across the country. Let's hear their stories on how they fell in love with nursing. Could you both please share with everyone how you got into nursing? Britt, you kind of hit on this already, but could you remember like the breakthrough moment when you realized nursing is what you wanted to do?
I mean, it was really a pretty practical decision for me. I made a big career change and I was looking for a tangible skill. I wanted to feel like I was making a difference in the world. I didn't want to be tied to one place. I wanted something that I could do anywhere, and I didn't want to be in the same role forever. I wanted to have some ability to move around, in terms of position as well. And so nursing fit the bill, and that's kind of how I got started.
And how about you, Barbara?
Oh, I remember exactly the moment I knew my mother, and of course this was many years ago, but she had to have a shoulder replacement done. And at the time, the only surgeon that did the procedure was in Atlanta, which is just only about 100 miles from here. So I went with her for that. And we were there for maybe 3 or 4 days. And I watched the nurses as they came in and took care of her, and how they communicated and their interactions, and just how confident they were and what a difference they made, to us. And so I came back and told my husband. We came back on a Friday and I said, I'm going to go back to nursing school. And he said, oh, really? And I said, yeah, as a matter of fact. So Monday, I started the process and went from there and just never looked back. I just knew that was the path for me. So, and it's just been, it's been an amazing path.
Now, Britt, we have seen your exceptional work over at RN in DC. And for those who don't know, Britt created RN in DC to advocate for the basic needs and rights of nurses. Could you tell us more about that undertaking, how it started?
Sure, yeah. So, my background actually before I became a nurse was in marketing and business development in the corporate world. And so I had a completely different kind of professional path. And then I had this long chunk of time where I was in clinical care, and really learned and admired the role that nurses play in like the larger healthcare scheme, right? And it started to realize that nurses are also very underrepresented in terms of media and their voices being heard, despite the fact that they're the largest segment of the healthcare workforce. So I got really interested in that and started this initiative to really try to amplify and engage the voices of nurses to make healthcare better, because they really do have a role to play and their voices aren't heard enough. So it's an effort to really try and encourage and amplify, as I said, what nurses have to say.
I never thought about that. Yeah, they don't have that, or at least I've never heard of that fact. Maybe it's because of the lack of the voice, but you would think
well, that's probably
people.
Part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can look up the Woodhull study. It's a really interesting study that actually quantified how underrepresented they are in nursing.
Barbara, your experience includes serving as an educator, coach, and consultant working with physician, nurses, and pretty much all members of healthcare teams on job engagement, professional development, and improving service behavior for a better patient experience. Could you tell us the impact you've seen from working with organizations and individuals in this manner?
People inherently want to do the right thing and say the right thing, but they don't always know how to do that. They don't want, certain situations require, a certain reaction and response. And so helping people learn how their role fits into the patient experience, and then helping them know how to manage the communication that comes out of that, because communication is absolutely key to the entire patient experience. So it really helps people to become more engaged, and that improves their performance. So when you can help the individual, it has an impact on the greater overall, and really begins to create a service culture that creates a really positive perception to the patient for how well the team took care of them. So that's basically what we see when we spend the time doing that, is helping the individual. Then it has that a domino effect that it helps teams to collaborate more efficiently with one another. And when we do that, then we provide a better experience.
The growth of a team. It's always
absolutely. And it really doesn't matter whether it's a physician or whether it's an entry-level individual. Once people know what their role is and what their contribution is and how to manage that, then it truly makes a difference for everybody.
Now, you both bring an incredible amount of experience, as we've just heard, to the Practicing Excellence team, both through your advocacy for the work of nurses and your continuous advocacy for nurses' rights and well-being. So I'd like to ask, what brought you to Practicing Excellence?
You know, when I stepped out of clinical care, I really started to focus more on kind of the bigger picture in terms of systems work. And that gradually and kind of naturally led to a real interest for me in supporting the workforce, the healthcare workforce specifically. And of course, as a nurse, you know, really focused on the nursing workforce as well. But trying to figure out how to help support these people who are doing such incredible work, but are faced with all types of challenges that make that hard to do. And when I had the opportunity to join the Practicing Excellence team, I saw a group of people and a program through the Clinician Experience Project and now more recently the Nursing Experience Project as an effort to really tackle that and address the support that the workforce needs in a practical way, but also in a meaningful way. And I think that's really important work, something that I want to be a part of. And so I was really, really excited to be a part of that effort.
Well, you mentioned the coaching experience that I had. And so I've been familiar with Dr. Beeson's Practicing Excellence book. For many years, I used it as a resource and a coaching aid when I was working with, doing mostly work with physicians. And so I was very familiar with him and with his approach to coaching. And so the opportunity to work with him was certainly something that was very special for me. I don't want to say I was a fan, but I guess I really was a fan or am a fan because his strategies work. They really make a difference to people. And so I have a very well-worn copy of his book that I've used over the years. But then I was also looking for an opportunity to share my experience with as many people as possible. And so Practicing Excellence and the role that I have there, it really gave me that opportunity. So every once in a while in life, you know, something very special comes along that you want to be a part of. And so that's how I see Practicing Excellence, and that the micro-learning platform just so fits what's needed in the space now. And so I just really wanted to be a part of that. And so I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, guys, again, for joining me for Conversations Over Coffee. I can't wait for this to come out for everyone to see, but well, I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.